you'll always even hear the legalists, lawyers, always throwing up at the audience that they've, basically control in legal participation. They'll always throw at them, well, remember, Christ said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, or give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. But um, they're not, they're, of course, have duped us already into believing that we had the right to make private claim to something that was a public title for our own use, which is how the debt operates and how the accusation operates, and how they're able to bill someone. They can't bill a title that doesn't have someone personally claiming it in a private capacity. So that's how it works. So the surname is the tax, and just remember that. Even though your parents filled this out, they were only obligated to put the last name that belonged to Caesar on it. They weren't obligated, and you're not obligated to put your given name on anything, period, because it doesn't belong to the state. It's not Caesar's. It's not any legal nation's property, period. It belongs, it's a gift from God to you, and it represents the sovereignty of his son, and that's why it's referred to as a God-given Christian name. And it only happens to those that wake up, because if you're going to remain in, then the surname takes over, and you don't have the power of that name on its own. So when your parents filled it out, they already did give the tax, the tribute. I remember looking up all the words that were similar, what we call synonyms to the word surname. In the historical record of it, it would come up as agnomen, A-G, nomen, agnomen, or an agnomination. Okay, and when you look at the definition, agnomen is defined as a nickname, a name which originates in a personal condition or attribute. They're talking about legal attributes. So you were assigned a legal attribute so you could give the tribute to Caesar. That is his tribute. That's it. That's the money. That's the coin. That's the tax. That's the deal. That is it. That's all he's able to receive. So he had to give you an assigned legal last name, even though it would appear only on its own, even if the parents hadn't been duped into putting the given name on the title, or the registration, that's the necessity that was required, because his world is only legal. It is only about money. It is only about fiction. So they were required to give you a name singly on its own that would cover what it is. So that's why there's no money or debt occurring, no monetary debt occurring without your private interference. The surname can't hurt you on its own. So, if anybody asks me, we'll just give for instance, we'll use the surname Smith here for a reference. The legal surname Smith that was assigned without my consent at the time of birth, that's it. That's as far as it goes. So if an officer asked you, what's your name? He says, the legal public surname that was assigned to me at time of birth without my consent is Smith. What else do you want? There's nothing else you have to give him. If he asks for your given name, well, that's private, and that doesn't belong to the state, and he doesn't have the jurisdiction to ask that. But the problem is we push play in the movie, and we've given them that. So you got to remove that. You have to remove what's yours out, and you have to give them notice to tell them to do that, because they're not mind readers. And if you're already operating in there, and you've made a mess of things with your given name intermingled or commingled in or merged in or unequally yoked with the public title, then you've got a problem only for the moment. When you pull that out, the property's still there. It's just not going to be billed to you anymore. That's it. But you can't have it both ways. You can't be the private public title holder and be free from this burden at the same time. What is Caesar's is Caesar's, and what is God's. Don't mix the two together. And then you have the seal and the signet of office, because the registrars only had authority with their seal of office to only deal with that last name. It's static. It's a statistic. It has nothing that was really part of you, and they had no right to the property that was given to you by God and your parents via him. So don't get mixed up on this. This isn't complicated. And that is the tribute. And your parents gave it, even if they filled in the birth record, they gave it already. So it's paid. It's there. Caesar already has it. It's when you try to take it back and make private use of it that runs into the problem. So I'm trying to unveil, take this veil, this surveillance off of your eyes right now, because you're only being pursued in the legal world because you're privately using it for your own gain. And the authority over it wants to know what you're doing with it. And because you've consented to touch something that's not yours, you're going to be surveilled. And they will track you. And eventually they're going to want to put something of theirs in you so that they will absolutely know where you are at any given time with no escape. So the time is running out. Hopefully what we're sharing here is sinking in, because the truth will set you free.